If you have one of the precious Bear Lake timed entry tickets and you only have a short amount of time here, you're gonna wanna watch this video. We're gonna take you all the way from the Bear Lake Corridor kiosk all the way to Bear Lake mile by mile so you don't miss anything.
And if you're wondering if the timed entry to Bear Lake is worth the money, watch us.
Yes. To get a Bear Lake timed entry ticket, you're gonna have to watch this other video that we posted, but through the high season, end of May through end of October, you will need a timed entry ticket for Bear Lake Corridor from 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. So you're gonna want to really know what this road is like and all the stops along the way.
Yeah, now do they need it in addition to the timed entry for the rest of the park?
No, you get one or the other.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you have the rest of the park ticket, you can't get into Bear Lake, but if you have the Bear Lake Corridor ticket, you can get into the rest of the park.
Okay.
Yeah, you just have to come into Bear Lake Corridor during your time. There's a 2-hour time block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. More details on our other video.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a very short road. You're gonna wanna come in through Estes Park at the Beaver Meadows entrance, which is good because the Fall River entrance is under construction. So give yourself extra time because in 2023, almost everyone's gonna be funneled through Beaver Creek entrance. Beaver Meadows?
Beaver Meadows.
Sorry, Beaver Meadows entrance.
Mm-hmm.
So give yourself some time. But once you're through the entry kiosk, the turn to Bear Lake Corridor is immediate. Like, I don't think it's even a quarter of a mile.
No.
So immediately once you go past the main park entrance, you need to park past too. Immediately past that, be looking for the left turn and turn there. There might be a line of cars, but be watching for that. And then you're gonna hit the Bear Lake Corridor kiosk, and that's where they're gonna wanna see your timed entry ticket for Bear Lake Corridor. Also, so you're gonna wanna show it in both places, so just have it out and ready or printed. Once you're at that kiosk though, it's 9.3 miles to Bear Lake Road, or Bear Lake.
To Bear Lake, yeah.
Just to Bear Lake. So really short, actually.
Yeah, it's short, but it'll take you longer than you think just because of the views.
Yeah, that's true. So one thing to note is I would say get to Bear Lake earlier the better if you're gonna go hiking. If you just want to mosey around, you can get a later ticket. Right now, we're at Sprague Lake, which is within the Bear Lake Corridor. And I'm gonna be watching behind me because moose are often here and I don't want one to sneak up on me. We did a whole video on the moose that you can go watch. But if you want a middle of the day and you're just gonna kind of mosey around and you're not a diehard hiker, you can get a later in the day ticket. But if you want to hike, get here early because like today the parking lots look really big, but they fill up probably in the height of hiking season by 8 a.m.
Oh, possibly even earlier.
Maybe even earlier.
Yeah.
Because I would suspect that once you're in the Bear Lake Corridor, if you want to really see everything, you're going to be here all day. There is that shuttle that comes in too from Estes though. So there's that. But once you get past the Bear Lake Corridor kiosk, then after that, it's only 1 mile into Moraine Park and the Visitor Center. It's the Discovery Center. So it only takes 1 mile once you're past that and you're at just already a gorgeous location.
Yeah.
So the Visitor Center, which is open during the high season, that's where you can get like the Junior Ranger badges and do the stuff in the center. But Moraine Park is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the campground in Moraine Park is closed this year too.
Yes.
So there's construction down there. I don't know what that's gonna look like as we get further into the season, but be noted that that campground is closed. But you can drive down that road because there's some cool hikes down there. And
just to interrupt a little bit.
Yeah.
If you're thinking that the word park means what you would find in a city park.
Right.
No, in the Rocky Mountains, a park is just a broad open valley, flat floored valley.
Good point. I gotta do a moose check. Okay, but from Moraine Park, you can drive down that side street to the trailhead for Cub Lake and Fern Lake. And so I've done just parts of those trails. Steve and I have made a commitment to hike more of these trails, but we haven't yet. But that here is a very nice starting point trail if you want to just meander. That is also a good place to see elk once we get later in the year into fall, September, October. would be a great place for elk and colors.
Yeah, rut season, the elk will be everywhere from the Discovery Center all along Moraine Park.
Yeah.
They're just everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. So that's just 1 mile in. That's where you're going to get to Moraine Park and those trailheads and the Discovery Center parking lot right away. And we actually did see elk and deer that they're just driving through today.
Yeah, can't get away. Can't get away from them.
And then you just drive 2 miles more further, and there's Tuxedo Park, and that was pretty small if I remember right. Tuxedo Park. We did see a moose very close to there though. There's like a little pullout, and there was a moose just kind of laying in the grass by the water. That was cool. We didn't stop, but Tuxedo Park is a place 3 miles past the main entrance. And then another mile in, you're gonna see Hallowell Park, and there's a trailhead there too. And we saw turkeys, a whole huge herd, oh my gosh, flock.
Flock of turkeys.
Flock of turkeys, just a whole bunch. That was pretty cool. You'll see wild turkeys all through the park as well. And then if you go another mile in, there's a whole bunch of stuff. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a little more than halfway down the trail, or the road, is Park and Ride, Glacier Basin trailhead, and one of the trailheads for Bierstadt Lake Trail. Maybe this was Bierstadt Moraine Trail, but anyway.
Bierstadt Moraine at the park at the
Glacier
Park and
Basin.
Ride.
Yeah. So that is a place where if there's no parking all the way down at Bear Lake, then you can park there.
There may be parking here. It's the biggest park. It's one of the biggest parking lots.
Yeah.
On the Bear Lake corridor.
And I believe there's a free shuttle.
And they do have free shuttle running.
Yeah.
Basically all over the park, I think.
Yeah, and there's bathrooms, little ranger station. It's a pretty nice stop. But going another mile down, you're going to get here to Sprague Lake, and this is where people say they always see moose. Okay, not so far. At sunrise and pretty much all day you could potentially see a moose here. This is a perfect lake for them to eat in. So Sprague Lake is super popular too. Not a huge parking lot, but you're not going to get as many hikers here because it's only a mile, I think, about a mile to get around this lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the casual stop. There's picnic tables, we've seen turkeys here, and moose, and it's lots more low-key at Sprague Lake.
Yeah.
We love this stop. Back before timed entry tickets, this is where I could just come up here in the evening any day of the year and have a picnic and see all the families fishing. That was, 8 years ago. All right, so you go another mile and you're gonna be at 2 trailheads. Now, one's about a quarter mile from the other. So you're gonna get to the Storm Pass trailhead. Pretty good sized parking lot. I was, I'm impressed by that. So there's a trailhead there. And a quarter mile past that, there's Bierstadt Lake, which it looks like you can loop from the other parking lot. So 2 big parking lots for lots of hiking in there. Then you go another 2 miles down the road, and there's the Glacier Gorge trailhead. And after this, no pulling over. And so lots of hiking in there too. And just beautiful, like the views like this, just everywhere. We got some Canada geese flying through. And then you just go the last mile and you're finally at the Bear Lake Trailhead. Now, Bear Lake is so popular because there's a massive amount of hiking that leaves out of there.
Yep.
All these other places are good too, but Bear Lake it has all these other lakes that you can hike to, but they're super popular pretty much all year. So if you're here, if you want to come up on the non-busy season, just have your winter hiking gear and look at the trail conditions.
Yeah.
So,
because there will be snow on the trails if you're off season.
and even right now it's the end of May, and we just have our regular hiking boots on, and I didn't go down the trail, it was too icy. So we didn't actually just walk in and see Bear Lake today because it was way too icy for us. So you need winter hiking gear for these trails from probably October through May.
Yeah, I was talking to the ranger at Bear Lake, and he's going, he's thinking that the Bear Lake hiking trail will be relatively free of snow and ice by mid to end of June.
Mid to end of June.
Which gives you a 2-month hiking season, basically. Maybe 3 if the weather cooperates.
Yeah, for just like casual hiking, not having to worry about snow and mud as much. Yeah.
This is what, May 20th?
Yeah.
And hikers were still hiking in there with cross-country skis and snowshoes.
Yeah, and at 8 o'clock, the parking lot was half full.
Yep.
In the off season. So you can imagine it's going to be super full with the people trying to get in before timed entry and then the early morning hikers in the summer. So really keep that in mind. Now, talking about cars, there is a sign the last 2 miles to Bear Lake, no stopping on the side of the road.
Yeah. None. Yeah. Maybe now's a good time. A little warning, driving Bear Lake corridor roads. At times, the view will be so great that you want to stop right there and take a picture. And you have to stop there because there's no place to pull off to the side of the road. Don't do it. It's dangerous. And it's really bad form, so don't.
Good point.
You drive, find a place to pull off, and then you can walk back and take your picture. Because there's some awesome views here. Awesome.
And there's awesome views outside that 2 miles. But why is it dangerous, Steve?
There are people, hikers and some other people who are just destination focused, and the 25-mile-an-hour or 35-mile-an-hour limit is ignored by them.
Yeah.
So they can come roaring around a corner at 50 miles an hour. And if you're stopped dead in the road, you might literally be dead in the road.
Yeah.
So.
Well, another reason is that moose and elk will walk out into the road at any time. So you want to be extra careful going around any curves, especially when there's nowhere for you to swerve for these animals. Turkeys cross the road as well.
Yep.
So especially if you're coming up here in the dark, they're out there.
Yeah.
And the deer.
And critters have right of way.
Oh my gosh.
So if you hit one, it's your fault.
We're at their house, okay? Be a good guest. Yeah, so Steve and I, like I said, we haven't explored a lot of these trails, but that is what we want to do more of over the next 2 years. And so since it's such a small range of time that we can actually go up hiking, so let us know, like, what trail you want us to explore, because we're game. I think we're going to probably start at Fern Lake and Cub Lake, but just let us know what you'd like us to explore. We do have another whole video on Trail Ridge Road for photographers that goes from the Deer Mountain Junction all the way up to the Alpine Visitor Center. So check out that video and get the free map and guide that we've created. All that's in the description as well. We have all kinds of videos about Rocky here. Learn about the timed entry tickets, the animals that you can see here, just so many things.
Yeah.
Moose at sunrise. That's a beautiful video, I think. It was a beautiful morning. You might like it. But there you go. That is the breakdown of exactly mile for mile what you're going to experience from the Bear Lake Trail entrance all the way to Bear Lake. Those 9.3 miles have a lot to see along them, and a lot of it's hiking. And Moraine Park has a lot of more of the open space that you can explore off to the side too, down that side.
And a lot of the hiking trails will actually take you above tree line, because then you've got a clear view of all of the mountains and mountain ranges around Rocky Mountain National Park. And that view is, well, that's beyond awesome.
And also, a word of warning there too, that's why a lot of people hike early, because there are thunder and lightning storms very often every afternoon.
Yeah.
Anywhere between noon and 3 or 4, you can get thunder and lightning storms, especially above tree level. You have to be careful. So a lot of people like to get their hikes done and be done by lunchtime. So another reason there's going to be a lot of early hikers.
Yes.
But there's nothing that says you have to get all the way to every single lake or every single vista. Just walking along, there's just so much to see. Today alone, we've seen moose, elk, deer, chipmunks, turkeys, little shorebird. We've heard a couple of hummingbirds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course, the geese, we saw goslings and ducks.
And that's just the animals. The landscape
Oh my
itself
gosh.
has some
Look.
amazing views.
Right, this is amazing. So I really hope you enjoy your trip to Rocky Mountain National Park this year and your precious time in the Bear Lake corridor. Those are hard to get tickets, so congrats to you, and I hope you just make it a great day.
Yes.
Yeah, and so be sure to subscribe to see more awesomeness. We only live an hour from Rocky, so we're up here a lot.
Yeah.
And we, of course, love our photography up here. So we'd love to have you join us on this channel. Subscribe, like, beep, 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 do all the things.
All of them. Yep.
Yeah, does that sound good?
Okay.
Okay, we better do a little scan for moose.
Oh.
I'm getting kind of nervous.
Yeah. Well, we've got, we have merch for sale on our website also.
Oh.
So you may
yeah.
want to check that out. We'll be adding stuff on a pretty regular basis. So you may want to pop in there every so often and see what's there.
Yeah, we wanted a way that we could share some of these photos with you all around the world. So there you go. We created some things for you.
Yep.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for reminding me. Okay, now we really do have to look for moose now. I'm getting kind of nervous with my back to the lake here.
Yes, I don't have a moose on my card yet this morning.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, we're good.
Okay.
Whew. All right,